Resident Evil 3 Nemesis, released in the fall of 1999 on PlayStation and eventually ported to Dreamcast, GameCube, and Windows, has sold over 3 million copies and garnered very positive reviews from critics. Taking place one day before and one day after the events of the second game, stars Raccoon City Special Tactics and Rescue Squad. Member Jill Valentine tries and fails to expose Umbrella's shady biological operations, then is thrown into an action-packed escape from the virus-infected Raccoon City. She is aided by the Umbrella Biohazard Countermeasure Service, or UBCS, comprised of 4 members: Carlos Oliveira, Tyrell Patrick, Mikhail Victor, and Nikolai Zinoviev. Spoiler alert, only one of these guys lives to tell the tale. But you're not here to hear about that. You're here because of the 2020 remake. Riding the coattails of RE2 in 2019's success, the Resident Evil 3 remake was released on April 3rd and has sold 2.5 million copies. That being said, it's a mixed bag as far as reviews go. Now, I'm not a die-hard Resident Evil fan, let me state that first. It was something I was always dimly aware of through references, but the first game I played was the Resident Evil 2 remake last year. I played through RE3 a few times throughout the different difficulties, and I find that it doesn't hold itself up as a standalone game as well as RE2. One issue being that the game is quite short, capping at less than 2 hours in a speedrun. Yes, I'm aware I'm beating a dead horse, but length is the first thing you'll take note of on beating a game, especially when said game sells for full market price. At $60, you can beat RE3 quicker than the runtime of Into the Spider-Verse. Yes, you can play it again in the various difficulties, and there are 6 difficulties if you include I'm a God mode. But aside from some placement modifications in 2 of the difficulties, you're playing the same game 6 times. With RE2, most of the replay value required playing it multiple times, yes, but between Leon and Claire, you get 4 hours apiece for one whole story, and 8 hours is more than 4 times the length you'll get from hearing RE3's story 4 times. The thing that irks me most about the game is how they try to supplement the price tag with an online multiplayer. It can be argued that Resistance gives hours more playtime, but this isn't about Resistance. The game is being sold as Resident Evil 3, not Resident Evil 3: A Realm Reborn. I'm sure for some people it wasn't an unwelcome surprise. I'm sure some people enjoyed the multiplayer. However, the base game is still RE3, and the base game still caps at less than 2 hours. Call of Duty, Ninja Storm, Grand Theft Auto, people tend to buy those games for the multiplayer aspect, but that doesn't mean the in-game story mode is any less immersive or lengthy. The reverse, RE3, feels like majority of the effort went into creating a multiplayer aspect to something that was being touted as a remake of a popular game that didn't begin with a multiplayer aspect. And the pacing. The most obvious aspect here is the length of the areas themselves. In a 2-hour playthrough, you'll spend 45 minutes in the beginning up to Jill boarding the train, and from there, roughly 30 minutes is Carlos, and I mean between both of his sections, 15 minutes to fight Dog Nemesis, 30 minutes to get through Ness and fight Dog Nemesis and Cum Splash Nemesis, maybe less depending on your difficulty. Why is the beginning of the game so long? The city is about as big as a police station, maybe even bigger, but there isn't much to do in it. Police station, you could find guns and gun mods for both characters. Raccoon City, you get a hip pouch and a shotgun, among other things of course, but excluding the key items, gunpowders and herbs are things you can pick up throughout the game. Yes, I'm sorry, I just feel RE3 does not cut it as its own game. Not as a survival horror game or a mainstream title of the Resident Evil lineup, but as its own game, period. It falls short comparatively to RE2, and I absolutely do not feel that the $60 price tag is justified by what Capcom is selling. It just feels like half of a game rushed out to ride the popularity wave, and if that's the case, I have to see what's in store for RE4.